Hi all, welcome to fourth episode of Transcend. As you know that Transcend is an initiative by Talent Recruit where we collaborate with industry leaders who present their thoughts and insights on various topics relating to HR. Today I'm glad that I have somebody, Ashish Banka, who is known as AB, as our guest. AB is the most vocal HR voices on LinkedIn, with almost 40 plus thousand followers. And he has been acknowledged by various HR fraternity or forums for his contribution to the industry. Ashish has close to 2 decades of experience and he has worked with companies like Voltas, Qatar Airways, Geo, Reliance Retail, and Delivery. And he's currently driving people function with a company called Cradlewise, which is a US based product engineering startup as head of human capital. So, welcome, Ashish or AB, to the fourth episode of Transient.
Thank you so much, Alokji, for this invite. I have been really excited to to learn, unlearn, and relearn the journey in this podcast, and specifically where you are able to get the right thoughts of different
Correct.
industry veterans. I think this would be a great opportunity not for only our viewers to have a insight to that detail, but also seasoned leaders like us to know what are the trends and to realign and reshift our strategies, what we develop for the talent in the future.
Absolutely. So, Ashish, today's topic adapting to change, HR trends and challenges in the global and Indian context. I'm sure this is an apt topic to discuss with you as you have been involved in strategizing HR functions globally and have been instrumental in building tech teams and partnering in growth of companies wherever you have worked so far. So let me just get you some information how I see or I've seen last 10 years the HR function has been evolving. I've seen the HR function has hugely evolved from a support function to a strategic function. I remember 10 years back when various organizations, HR function was largely an administrative function. And today it has evolved to a key strategic function in various organizations. As you see, in most of the companies today, HR or CHROs have been sitting on the board of the companies. As per Russell 3000 index, between 2020 to 2022, amongst the new directors that have been onboarded, 1.1% to 2.7%, directors have been from HR background. That significantly shows and demonstrates the kind of role the HR fraternity or HR professionals are perceived to be known and playing a bigger role on the board of the companies. So overall, index talks about the contribution of HR on the board have grown from 0.6% in 2020 to 0.9% in 2022. It's a significant shift that is we are seeing. And also, when I looked at 10 years back, when in reference to a lot of technology being used by HR professionals, especially in HRMS or taking decision making process. Most of the decisions were taken by CFOs or other stakeholders because most of the business applications like Oracle or SAP were taken as a decision to implement those kind of platforms. And HR used to get something which is allied to Oracle or something SAP, and then they did not have that major say in the decision making process. But with the COVID and post COVID transformation, and there is a lot of digital push which we have seen. And today HR are really looking to solve their end-to-end problem, what they are facing, and trying to be the strategic part of the decision-making process to implement, adopt various platform, what they would like to use. So in this context, Ashish, I have a very straight question to you. You have had career spanning almost 2 decades, and looking overall HR functions. Could you speak more about your experience and how you have seen the role of HR change over the time?
Thank you so much, Alokji, for that question. In one narrative, you asked a lot of questions and difficult to give it a blanket approach. So I'll bifurcate that into three segments. The first segment which you spoke about is of people, HR leaders getting into board of directors as independent directors. Yes, the numbers have significantly gone up, and HR's people are the recipients of that. But there are things where we need to understand this is for the senior class of people who have demonstrated either experience into some renowned companies or had the certification of the independent directors from various institutes. I think these are the people who are getting beneficiary, and most of them have also completed LLB. So corporate governance or health safety, all these things come naturally to them, and that's why they are the chosen people, because um, a lot of bundle of benefits or the approvals come in one person because of that. And these are all narrated to be SMEs or a support function to the other directorships of finance or commercials or whatever it is. The second arena, if you look at it, where the HR role which we talk about, whether the role of senior leaders or mid manager managers or at the entry level, the role has become very significantly described of purpose driven, or it's just not a recruiter or a consultancy role. Most of the roles are designed through talent management or being an HRBP to a different vertical function. And most of the people, even at group CHRO level or CHROs as senior leaders, are at the board of directors because they are at the decision making capability. The likes of Mr. Santosh Mishra or the likes of Dr. Ashish Maheshwari, who have led the HR to the CEO level, have also led a lot of ways. And also, most of the HR leaders becoming entrepreneurs is also path changing. But there is a flip side to it, is there's a sudden decline of the people who opt out HR specialization in MBS. So while the people who were in HR have seen that boom growth or different avenues of becoming placement directors or corporate governance or HSC or whatever, while there is sharp reduction in the people who opt for an HR, I feel the gap of leadership of HR is widening because there are not much of opportunities, and the quality of the role has also diminished. I feel what we as leaders need to do is develop more and more people as HR leaders. And I think that is what is my primer motto has been so far through Sampark of building this, where we identify people and build specifically for HR leadership base. Most of the HR leaders are smart people. That you agree or disagree, but the fact remains the same, Alokji. We all know that what is good for us, and we will not take a decision in haste because we have learned our lessons well in COVID, where everything came back to us heavily, whether whichever industries we were. While in startups, we are the soft targets, and this does not change. But we also are, most of the startups are looking back to us to hire us at an early stage to develop their companies. So the entire system of HR periphery has become a barter system post COVID. What we were earlier is society improvement or improving the industrial revolution or bringing out instrumental policies in India. You don't hear them nowadays. The wage code has not released. The compensation is very disruptive. It is has a lot of peaks, highs and lows in companies. You get a HR manager in a larger organization at an X amount, and you get that in same in other company with a less than 40% cost also. I think this is like fried pricing, where dynamic pricing is there and you are treating the HR people. The industry is getting the humongous supply, where the possibility of choose of the people is very easy for the companies and give them that kind of leeway. So to cut the long story short, Alokji, I will just say a few lines before to sum up this question. Is अपना बनाकर कुछ दिनों में बेगाना बना दिया, अपना बनाकर कुछ दिनों में बेगाना बना दिया, भर गया दिल और मजबूरी का बहाना बना दिया. So this is the state of the HR fraternity post COVID, which I look at it.
Superb. I think your Hindi, that phrase is really quite appealing. So, as you spoke about, how HR role has been transforming in terms of while they are being part of the board as independent directors or as a executive director on the board, and how they can naturally contribute to the corporate governance, process, because that naturally, comes as a part of their process or their, work profile. At the same time, of course, you as rightly mentioned, we have been in the world which needs more HR professional reaching to the top level, because the kind of gap which we see, in terms of the demand of great people, great HR people, because today it has been widely acknowledged, that from the business function perspective, that HR has a very critical role to contribute into the business function. And that's where you see the new terminology HR VP or HR business partners have been figured out to really align HR function to the business process. And at the same time, every organization has been very, very carefully looking to see how they can serve the larger purpose of attracting, retaining the top talent, and at the same time preparing the talent in their development process. So when you look at various studies, PwC in 2020 had conducted a study which included 650 HRIT leaders, where they spoke about what is the biggest HR problem these professionals have been facing. You'll be happy to know that 58% respondents talking about finding the talent has been the biggest HR problem,
Hmm.
and 43% people saying developing people to reach their full potential has been the biggest HR problem, and 42% people saying improving the employee experience has been the biggest HR problem. Similarly, there's a KPMG study which spoke about 83 countries CIOs talking that their inability to hire the talent is the biggest business threat. So today, if you look at across organization across the world, you know you know and irrespective of the size of the organizations, everybody is struggling to find the talent, and of course to also retain the talent. And of course there is a sapient inside group study which spoke about, which was in last year conducted, that the people are continuing to struggle in finding and attracting and also retaining the talent. That has been the biggest problem statement. In this light, considering your experience so far, what, as per you, has been the biggest challenges you as person has faced within HR function, and how did you overcome them?
I will talk about as an individual. See, I have been fortunate to work in a lot of industries. Every job movement which I did with Cradlewise, we are into deep tech and product company. Delivery was logistics, while previously with Compass it was hospitality, and then with Geo it was retail and Reliance Geo as well. In last 4 5 industries which I've understood, Alok, is everybody's challenges is very different. One concurrent base problem of HR which remains is definitely the retention and diversity. I think these are the two P0 items which everybody works upon. Talent attraction is not a challenge in India, where everybody is trying to maintain his GCC here or this. I think the biggest challenge for an HR is to build the retention and the growth perspective. Talent attraction is not there. There are startups who get 50,000 applications. There are larger organizations which get. As an HR, you just need to know the right kind of narrative. How do you attract the people? And which kind of technology do you use? Either it is through LinkedIn or through Naukri or through walk-ins or through advertisements. Retention as a challenge, if I look back as HR leader, yeah, retention and diversity is very important because there are two perspectives to it. One, on a larger run, it builds an organization, because these are things if you don't try to address now, on the later portion, this can become the biggest elephant in the room and you have no solution to that. Because overnight, you can't bring any solution to these two problems. It is a continuous process of Kaizen where you build this process. So, when we talk about diversity, we have done some great work in Geo and in delivery, either doing through a all unit which is based out of females, or getting the Veer Naris, the widows of the martyr soldiers, in delivery at the warehousing. and making the arena very soothing for the female workforce or the diversity, whether it is from LGBTQI plus, especially abled, or it is through any part. And I feel we as HR leaders have a great context to play here to build a social narrative to this. If we handle this piece better and get that incorporated into a working system of our respective companies, you have a multifold effect. One, the existing employees become mentally more aware. You have a social impact as well. And then you have an economical impact to those people who are part of the society who don't feel left out. And I feel this is good, which we are talking a lot of DNI space, but we need really to bring out the database or the numbers of each company, what we are able to do. Retention is another piece which is linked to a lot of in Cradlewise as an organization. We don't, you know, have to worry about attrition because we are following the value principles of respect, trust, and love. Money is not the motivator for leave. At perennial resources where people are working at the grassroots level, you can change jobs for a few thousand rupees or few hundred rupees, but over a period of time, these are not the motivators which the employees are looking. They're looking for respect, quality of work, work life balance. And I think these are the things which we HR need to work upon, because compensation is not in our control. You cannot ask an organization to dent their PNL and give bundles of money to the employees. That's not possible. But I think what's possible with us as HRs or for retention, I think we should do that. Exit surveys and engagement surveys. And when we get that good feedback, we need to think futuristic as HR leaders. And we need to develop strategies which are in our control. You cannot go to a CEO and ask you double the salary of the people so that you promise a retention for 5 years. That will never happen. That's a euphoria moment. But if you go back and say, hey, they are working overtime, or they are not getting the work life balance, you add two more resource so that everybody gets the kind of breathing space. And I think that's possible.
Great.
And
I think, yeah, go ahead,
glad
please.
to share that most of the HR leaders are working towards it. There are forums, discussions, events happening across. But the impact segment is still very low. Most of the HR peoples are themselves struggling to resolve this for themselves, and an unsatisfied mind cannot satisfy the entire bunch of people. So,
Got it. I think you touched upon, your challenges largely that encompass around the talent retention. And of course, the kind of company you have been, where, of course, the gig workforce is playing a major role because delivery, you see close to 60,000 employee you are managing, I believe so, right? And
I yeah.
and of course, the changing trend again, and very, very important key decisions for business leaders and HR leaders to really create the right frame of workforce that they are going to create in future that includes the pump workforce or contact workforce or gig workforce. And I'm sure that with your experience in delivery, which has been one of the companies, hiring more gig workforce, and India is poised to look at by 2030,
Hmm.
10% of its workforce will be including gig workforce. And you, of course, talk about the challenges with respect to the diversity hiring or how you need to structure your organization more diverse, and of course, in that process, what has been your thought process that how technology, today we are talking about the Gen AI, machine learning era. Of course, with COVID or post-COVID situation, the HR transformation is largely driven through various strategy the HRs are looking to implement and bring in AI into play. So, how do you look at the AI or technology going to play a crucial role in talent acquisition and talent retention? Your thoughts, please.
Very good point. We are talking about AI, ML, VR, AR. We are talking all these jargons, to be honest. If I have to look back with my personal, I always respect AI because it amplifies the quality of work and the speed of work. I look at AI with that. It cannot come and replace anybody. So let me tell the viewers, please do not be afraid. It is just a technology which is helping you out. It is not your replacement. In Marathi, we say, is AI. So
I
I and Tai and AI. Tuja namaskar. So
correct.
we have to embrace what is there. We don't have to be fearful about it. As HR leaders, Alokji, AI for us has a very limited space to play. In terms of to bring technology, where we can bring is generally we can bring it in ESS, employee self-service, or the HRMS platforms which we use. You can use a chat box, you can use a ticketing system, you can identify and bring the best AI to give the employee experience. But ultimately, HRMS will do its HRMS role. It can bring more convenience to the users at the back end who are using. The second is LMS. How do you bring the learning management system to transform the employee learning and the self development?
Correct.
The third portion you bring is for the talent management piece, succession planning, or high potential identification, or you can do it for the assessment centers. For all of these, when we see AI, we have a lot of tools and product available. The problem has become with us, all these AI tools, there's a lot of competition. You don't know which kind of enemy or friend are you choosing. And this visibility to retain its structure in future or to advance themselves against the demands of future is also arbitrary. So what we are, most of them are doing is we are testing it through the network, asking a lot of feedback, and we are then implementing step by step, baby step. Nobody will implement at a go because everybody is fearful, because this not only will cause dent to our organization but also cause loss of face towards the management that it failed. I feel we as HR leaders need to do thorough understanding of our business needs as HRBP, as CHROs, as HR heads, and take the snippets what is going to impact the business at that point. Because AI is not coming with a confirmation that it will keep resolving your problems for future, the best approach which I will suggest and I will take and I do take in the organizations is take the ladder step by step. If I have a concurrent problem of a payroll and if AI can solve it, let us do it for payroll. If talent management is one or learning management, taking the holistic approach with AI is not the time, because the future solutions towards the challenges AI is not giving us that confidence as of now. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, of course, AI and machine learning is evolving, and of course, when we look at as a solution provider or HR professionals, we believe that AI and machine learning and automation has a big role to play, and you will see that is happening at a much rapid pace now than what we've seen in last 5 years. So today, as you mentioned about how, of course, there is AI conversational bot or chat GPT or maybe the chat bot have a role to play in employee engagement or how they can even chat or engage with the candidate you are trying to aspire to hire. So the growing question, of course, with respect to how it continues to evolve. Second, of course, we also see how the conscious and unconscious bias, that also AI able to solve with its governance process. And there are a lot many questions that are still, to be answered when we look to see the technology playing the major role in HR transformation process. So I think this has been a truly an awesome conversation with you, AB, and I'm pretty sure that our viewers is going to like this insightful discussion, what you spoke about your experience on the transformation and your experience in the journey, what you have seen last 20 years, and any last thought on your
No,
from your
no,
point.
I thank you so much for asking relevant questions, which is very much missing nowadays when we go. And and trying to address things which are really the bottleneck for us as leaders. And I thoroughly enjoyed, because it also provoked me to think an answer. It was not a flurry of water which just fled. But uh, this is a good initiative, Alokji. You and through the this podcast which you are taking, and specifically also, I wish you and Talent Recruit a great journey ahead, because you are taking up a kind of a solution oriented approach for us, and keeping yourself buy-ins in this competitive world, which is not easy. But I wish you all the best, and kudos your journey so far on this with that.
Thank you, Avi. Really appreciate. I know that leaders like you has been always our inspiration when we build the solutioning, and so glad to have you in this particular podcast. So thank you, viewers, for viewing this episode of Transcend, and stay tuned till we come out the next episode. Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so much.
Avi. Once again, have a
Thank you,
great
Alok.
evening.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Take
Bye.
care.